Okay.
One of them was a bit brilliant.
Yeah, what I said.
That kind of, you know, there's some context.
Oh, nice. We have the heroes.
Kind of new.
My mind is blown.
We didn't have that earlier. Now it says who locks in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You can do a lot. But again, it's against the snap. Like, you get out of position.
Later,
you have no way to protect the egg.
I mean, at least when you're off, you'll have like at least one or two items, and you'll be level 12. So
and you'll reach those levels faster. But
So, I mean, what do you guys think? Like, what's your predictions on the laning phase then? Who do you think will win their lanes, considering like now it's offlane Phoenix? Do you think it's going to change anything?
not really.
yeah, I'm actually curious to see how that lane, because it could get annoying, like if they get some toss backs.
The treant can be caught out of.
Yeah, the tree, or like if he gets to sneak up on the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah.
Overall, I do like Blacklist lanes better though, so.
Yeah.
So I believe our casters are ready. Let me throw you guys off real quick to Avo and Richie. How are you guys doing?
Hello, Soph. We're very excited. Our first match and only match of the day. I got hungry, so I brought chocolate bars. If you guys want some, I have some for the panel later.
Yeah, he brought a bunch of plates over. I think he stopped and raided the Mammox cell before he came over.
I have a banana as well.
I don't know where he got that from, by the way.
I've been carrying this for 2 days. This for you, Mike.
Doesn't sound good.
Oh, well, you know, I was hanging out with Mike earlier, and he's always said mean things to me today. Thought I was playing for SMG for a second, but we're watching a different team.
Wow.
It's Bleed versus Blacklist International. Can't wait to get into this the first game of the series.
All right, you guys take it away. I want you guys to have fun, eat your chocolate bars, and go cast this game.
Thanks, Soph. I mean, just poor Mike out here catching strays,
It's
man.
because I brought some ball, right? So I'm feeling spicy today.
Wow. Very, very good.
Nice.
Very good. Very proud of you.
Can I eat the sambal after the game?
Sure. You know what? You can. I'd rather that than you put it back into your pocket.
It's been for there.
Because I don't know how you'd get it back out, honestly. In any case, here live for game number 1, Blacklist and Bleed. 2 new orgs coming and joining us this season, facing off. Ought to be pretty exciting. They've actually already played but a couple days ago in that M88 tournament that was just running.
Yep, exactly. It was a short tournament, but we got to see a little bit of these teams, particularly Bleed, right? Because they won the tournament. And they looked really, really good in that tournament. I think it was also a nice showing for Corden for his first, let's call it big game, right?
Yeah.
A lot of concerns over whether he'd be nervous or whether he would perform with the standard that he would in a normal pub, and it did look really good in that tournament at least.
Yeah, and I think what's really impressive is that this is the first we've seen of him in DPC at all.
Yeah.
You know, he's just kind of straight on to a tier 1 team. He's Singaporean, Bleed playing from Singapore. They're boot camping there. It's a Singaporean org as well. So it's pretty cool that, you know, they hired from within or kind of found their own hometown heroes, but really eager to see actually how he's going to be able to impress on the Pango, which he's been playing a bit of previously.
Yeah, I think he's had a fair amount of success because Master is also a really good Pango, right? So you have 2 heroes you can flex the Pango between, and that works well for them. I actually remember Play Hard as well back in Neon, also used to play a little bit of the Pango 4, so I think they have a nice option for this hero, and it makes it a stronger pick. I know LGD was abusing a lot last season. It didn't look as great in their hands, I think, because the flex was not as effective as with Bleed.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. And with the item builds that you can go for early, Orb of Corrosion, Diffusal, it's just tons of damage, especially early into these squishy spell-based casters that Blacklist are kind of running at you early on, right? Clear the Spiderlings, farm those up, kill a Lesh, burn his mana, which is doubly effective against a hero like this who needs his mana to survive. So that's going to be a really, really nice build and a super disruptive team fight. Although, playing into the Treant Protector, trying to protect this Snapfire Supernova, like they've got the team fight, but it is going to be tricky. Blacklist can definitely take it to them.
For sure. I mean, I agree with Pai's statements. Maybe I wouldn't use the same words, but I think that this lineup is a very straightforward lineup as to play. I think it has a couple of heroes that were pretty strong this meta. There isn't much complexity to it, though, which means that if they fall behind, they don't have resources to get back, right?
Yeah.
They can't diversify their strategy necessarily.
Yeah, that's fairly accurate. I wonder, though, if you can't say the same for this Phoenix offlane. It's not something I've seen a whole lot. You used to see this hero actually a ton when the Fire Spirits were pretty imba, when they had like that plus 90 damage or something talent at 15. Veil was really good. Sunray used to be pure damage way back in the day. But this hero does have problems, right? He's a 1-0 armor hero coming into lane against an SF, against a tree, the slows. they can actually get on top of him. That'll be real painful. And if he doesn't get his levels, if he can't farm with Fire Spirits, I don't know what his way back in this game is.
Yeah, the only person I've seen playing this hero in the offlane position recently, and like in the past year, has been Whisper from EG. That's my one mention of
Wow.
Beast Coast.
Yeah, it's not even Beast Coast anymore.
Doesn't matter. And I haven't really seen it much besides. I have seen a couple of game masters in less relevant matches, perhaps. But it is, because again, he was in Udvesa 1 last year, right?
Yep.
So a little bit different caliber. I'm interested. I'm also interested as to how this fixes the Snapfire, because as they pointed out in the panel, you don't have anything to stop them from just destroying the egg. So what can offlane Phoenix do to make sure that that egg continues? I don't know.
I think at least what the benefit is you take a look at this bleed lineup and you have a lot of heroes you want to jump and kill like immediately. Phoenix is pretty high priority. CM, when she's ulting, you have to throw something at her. I would say same can be said actually of this Pangolier if you can kill him pre-roll or catch him in roll.
Sure.
Slark is the same kind of hero. Like, it's a lot to kind of get a grasp on, and the CC outside of really the nature, sorry, make that the overgrowth, it's not really the greatest. So perhaps that's something that Bleed can use, this chaotic team fight that they can kind of just string together. Oh, they overgrowth for the Rolling Thunder, Icarus dive in deep, he can't cancel it, you know? Stuff like that, I mean, you might be able to do it. It's just redundant team fight after team fight.
No, I think that's actually a pretty good point. I wonder how they can play around with that. I think that does heighten the priority of the Leshrac Shard this game, because it's a really good area denial spell.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And that could be the second crack control ability they can get to, or AoE stun rather.
It's a really good point.
You also have Requiem, I guess. Raven could just diversify Shadow Fiend and not just be full physical damage carry.
I think I'd like to see that, because when you start, you know, imagining some of the fights that they begin to take in the early to mid game, you know, we're talking tier 2 sieges, Roshan fights especially, Bleed kind of blow them out of the water right now. That's not a comfortable position to be in against a Slark, especially.
Yeah, it's true. Slark is really trying to get kills in this bottom lane, but it's difficult to do anything with a Broodmother in lane. She's denies. I mean, it's not like she's gonna kick you out.
Right.
But she just makes it very hard to play or achieve anything as Slark. At least he won't get bullied out of lane before level 6.
They've also got a nice lane buff for this Slark, right, with the, mid lane.
Yeah, Gordon, he might have messed up with that swashbuckle. Oh, sorry, no, he had a swashbuckle the whole time, had a mango, just didn't want to use it until the last second.
Yeah, but he's not going to get his second refill, and not a whole lot of aggressive action in the lane, so it'll be a while. He might have to take a run home. Oh, no, actually, the runes just spawned top lane. Pardon me. Corden, he is just A-okay.
Get the water rune. In worst case, you just support, kill yourself for me, and
yeah,
fine, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it comes down to on the support life. He's trapped himself momentarily, but he'll cut himself free there.
That's why you buy the Quelling Blade on Pango, actually. People think it's for lasting increase, but it's actually so your teammates don't see you doing it.
It's true. I ask, why did they cut down the trees? Oh, he split Earth. I juked him.
it was so good.
It was so good. You missed it.
That's how Cord has stayed on his teams, you know, for so long. From Singaporean Open qualifiers, that's what I heard. That's where they picked him up. They watched him for some local tournaments. He was an Open qualifier player, and they thought this guy's very good. Apparently, he was a hot commodity for this new season. A couple of teams were bidding for him.
Really? That's good to know. Well, it's a lot of pressure when you think about it, right? Especially with all the organizational support that Bleed is actually giving their players. Maybe a bit of pressure, but so far he's performing very well. He's just about keeping pace here with the Lesh, just a little bit out-denied. But here's the gank now from Player. Double TP instant from Blacklist International. The toss back looking real good with the body blocks. Carl, though, with the magic wand, stays alive with the aid of the cookie up to the high ground. 6 heroes in the mid lane just like that.
Yeah, very well done though. That both mobility spells there. Gordon even got as much out of the toss as he could by one little shield crash, right, to maximize that, but he couldn't quite reach the high ground in time. And now the supports will leave their cores alone. Let's see how these lanes shape up, where the supports actually continue to fight Tibbs.
Yeah, 6-minute power in.
He's leading Tibbs here with the cookie, gets the stun into the Pango, but the power rune is already in his hands, and they're gonna kill AU at this rate. Nope, in fact, it's gonna be Play Hard who dies first. The Evolve destroying him. We still have Magic Stick on Tibbs, but doesn't want to continue on to Corden. He's gonna settle for the first blood, and that's gonna be enough.
Yep. And Corden ultimately is going to be fairly happy with that. He's got a regen rune, so he doesn't actually even need the Tiny to TP back to lane for the bottle refill, because he did recover it. So that may allow them to get a bit of a heads up if they want to go top lane. Now they're actually going to go right back mid, so looking to apply more pressure.
It's a hard toss to get the Leshrac,
yeah,
because he does a lot of area damage, as we just saw here. It might just kill you by accident. And you're also leaving... CM rotates, you're leaving the Stalker alone versus Broodmother, which is not ideal.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, so Playhard he shows on the ward a bit early, and he actually even right-clicks the tower. So Blacklist with a very good response. They just kind of play it chill. They know that the only way they die there is if Tiny gets a toss, but he can't dive tier 1 tower this early on to take him down. So good patience here by Carl. But showing lots of experience here. I don't know what number of matches he's played now in professional Dota, but for Corden being his first, he's starting to show his experience.
Moscow in the bottom. I called him that because I read his name, but I don't know if that's Bosku.
Bosku. It's Cuckoo.
I know, of course it's Cuckoo, but it's just, you know, what a name change. I guess this probably came from a conversation with someone questioning his Venom answer as play hard in the top. No, they tossed the wrong hero. Corden was too quick on that swashbuckle.
Oh, they're good committing.
They are going to commit to the SF. Can they reach him in time? Yes, the TP gets cancelled by the Rolling Thunder. The tip immediately by Playhard. They slow him with a Crystal Null. That's going to get a kill as well. Carl is in the wrong position. He got caught by the tail and the Rolling Thunder. We need a little bit more damage. That Hawking is carrying through Corden, but a beautiful shield crash will actually get him to safety.
Oh no.
The unfortunate Leech Seed will kill him off, but AU could still die to this. Masaros doesn't have Spirit for 6 seconds, and they will leave the Trimper there alone. Still a win for Bleed, despite all.
Yeah, and just a little bit too aggressive there on the swashbuckle. I think there's an angle he has there that gets him a little bit closer to safety, so that he's not tanking tier 1 tower. It was a great kill onto the Lesh. I completely commend the call to actually get that aggressive, because they had the kill, but he clears the creep wave way too fast, so someone's got to tank those tower shots. Yep. And unfortunately, it was him in that instance.
Yeah, it's true. He was also the tankiest hero right in that engagement. The Phoenix is not great at tanking the tower early, and you're coming in as the highest level hero. So I see Corden's idea. Also, that shield crash was very impressive. He went very far. For sure. But yeah, it's tough with the Leshrac because he managed to max Diabolic Edict, right?
Yeah. But that's a pretty nice sequence of events. I suppose I could call that his very first gank of DPC. He went bottom, didn't work out. TP top, got it interrupted immediately. Playhard trolled him a little bit on the toss, and
we should have made a graphic for that.
Found the
very first gank of DPC.
There's the KPI. Everything he does here, it's his first time.
First time he lost a match in DPC.
Oh no, oh no.
That is the one that we're never going to use for Bleed, right? But yeah, it looked good, honestly. We'll see what they can do now, because there's still an advantage over this early game once Cuckoo gets his level 6.
Oh, Carl. He's going to be right in the path of the smoke. They've got a ward.
Dubu is going to lead this. Yes, Crystal Nova just barely in range. Hits Carl now. Swashbuckle as well, but Carl already activated the full spell by Diabolic Edict. He's just going to die quickly. Jackie dealing a lot of damage. He tried to go for Cuckoo, but Cuckoo can play around with those clicks.
And that's Dubu warding for you right there, paying off. You can see he still has his Observer up. Carl feels relatively safe to make that play because of the Observer that they just lost. Figured he wasn't under vision, maybe thought the Pango was still top. It's not the craziest smoke in the game to try and, you know, boot the Broodmother out of lane. It's just unfortunate that he ends up kind of farming right in the path of that would-be smoke. Really, really nice momentum, though, early on for Corden.
Glad you pointed out Dubu's warding, because, you know, he played pubs in NA for years. You know how many times he got picked for not putting the ward in the right place? This man learned the hard way.
He basically wrote the supporting bit himself that they aired at TI.
He actually did. Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be a comedy bit, though. It was supposed to be his drama screenplay.
And Slack's like, what if?
Tim's has been caught here with the Curse Time. A little bit of slow. We do not have anything else. They had a couple more spirits that could have followed Tim's, but the Scatter Blast was a little bit too scary.
Masaros still looking to tank up a little bit against this early damage. He needs to go toe-to-toe against the early damage of Lesh, so he can Icarus dive in a bit aggressively and survive at least one stun. So the Hooded Defiance early for him is going to allow him to do just that and actually get off his Supernova.
Straight pipe as well.
I know. I was surprised by the pipe, but that's, you know, kind of what won Tundra TI, right? You got to shut down this hero, because honestly, the rest of Blacklist outside of the tree are very squishy.
Yeah, no, I think the pipe is a good idea. It's also like, what is your Opulent Phoenix going to buy this with? More items. And pipe is the easiest one, because as opposed to Wraith Pact or whatever, you have to make sure to activate it before you use the egg, etc., etc.
Right.
Just make sure you use pipe the second you like high ground, it stays forever. Very useful buff.
Yeah, I sometimes see a Veil of Discord on these Phoenixes, but it's just not really a fantastic item, not a feels-good item, nor is the build-up good. You don't need the Bazzi, you've got a Maiden.
Especially for a competitive game. I think in pubs it works better because you get to have more as Phoenix, but in competitive game you're happy to play the 3.5 role, right?
Here's a smoke though. There's no points in Requiem, so they don't have that AoE fear to try and get him through the Shadow Dance. Blacklist are going to have to do this the old-fashioned way.
Who's going to be the one to initiate all this thing? That's the one thing we
just really awkward, isn't it?
A lot of do-nothingness, right? Like, they have a lot of damage if you get in their vicinity. How do you get in their vicinity?
I guess it's probably Lesh gets Bloodstone, and you just try and cookie him in.
Our initiation is cookie-less.
Yeah, it's the war ponies, you know?
Yeah.
Like what is it? They had the war elephants in ancient history. This is the war pony. You cookie him in and you charge him into battle and hope that he catches someone.
Right. That's true.
I don't see what else is going to go their way. I think they're completely out of their depth when it comes to team fight. They needed just a good Requiem counter initiation, and I think from there it comes together. But you're right, all their heroes are kind of want to be the second one in. Brood has an awkward time running in against, I think, the amount of counters they've thrown at her as well.
If Flesh is a war elephant, do you think he could cross mountains, or does he need Cuckoo as his boss to make sure he does it? I feel like he'd be great at conquering Rome.
That's exactly right. Very, very good catch on the historical joke.
I appreciate a good Hannibal friend.
Yes.
Anyway, we are going to look at the top tower, which is Bleed's next objective, it seems like. Play hard with an Invis Rune is putting himself in position, and Jackie has already foregone in the bottom lane. He's ready to farm this freer lane. However, we're seeing Bleed looking to defend this perhaps. Mask of Menace already ready on Raven. And he's just walking in. That's the plan.
He's got Requiem. He's gonna walk in and Requiem the oh, he's a Slark. Oh,
Okay, plan B. Mask of Madness them.
And then he runs away. Oh, he's got pounce. Yeah, there's problems. We've got some problems here.
We need the cookie, Richie. So we need the cookie.
At the very least, you know, Dota's a game that. Oh, hold on.
Overgrow? Okay, plus more versus distance.
Support though.
Yeah, it's gonna be a kill though. Play hard at least dies, and this is enough to deter Jackie's aggression. He needed that Tiny to tank the gank for him, so it's kind of a win for both teams, right? Because now Slark can't farm any longer in this area.
I suppose that's true. Yeah.
But you also tank the gank for the Slark.
Yeah, not bad, but it's going to really free up, I want to say, Masaros as well as Corden, who's about to finish up his Diffusal Blade. He's kind of getting there. It only needs about another 500 gold before he has that item online, but then the damage is going to be immense out from him. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, though, it's an interesting idea I had, and I want to see your thoughts. Okay. If you're in a lineup like this, where the initiation is not particularly quick, or there's any stuns that you have to avoid, right?
Right. You're playing against one of these, that is.
That's it, yeah. You're playing against one of them, so you're Bleed in this case. Do you actually need the supports to be in that position to block smoke games? Or is that just giving them freer kills, which they wouldn't otherwise be able to acquire?
So I actually think it depends on the state of the game. I think, like, early on, like, it's totally acceptable for you to commit double ultis there, because you can overgrowth, bait out the shadow, or sorry, the purge, and then hit him with a Requiem, and then you kill him, right?
True.
And that's worth it in the early game. Late game, when the rest of his cores are going to take 2 of their structures because you can't fight, that's not worth it. So I actually think it is, in this case, it's definitely worth the Tiny dying there to make sure that Jackie is completely safe.
That's a very good point. Yeah. So it's about, because the ultimates are a very big deal here. You have a really good team fight in their ultimates. Bosku, he is. I love that he's playing Brood, but he's trying to buy his minions, right? Yeah. Truly Bosku.
He's the boss. Those are his underlings.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he's only playing. If you check his Dota Pro Tracker, you'll see he's only playing unit heroes right now. It's Nature's Prophet, Visage, Broodmother. I caught him playing some Beastmaster.
Yeah, Venomancer, he's even got his wards he sets up, isn't that right?
I don't know if we should say Venomancer, the presence of Cuckoo. I hear when he sees snakes now, he gets PTSD.
Smoke play from Bleed, so they're going to be first to make a move. They're pretty strong now. They have this dual timing of a Pipe of Insight, not quite this Blink Dagger for timing, but the Diffusal now for Pangolier is out, so they pack a punch, and they can take one too.
Yeah, we'll see. The Tiny, though, is a key point in their initiation. Like you said, the Fango's useful here, but no Blink yet on him. In fact, he's going for Shard before the Blink. Do you think that's because the Tiny's already going to act as that initiator?
I guess so. It also just saves them from a lot, right? Like, you can just roll up and, oh, hold on, toss.
You can also toss the Snapfire, and that's your initiation. That's your cookie. Oh, no. How are you going to counterattack? There's no way. Tims is dead. They'll cover this tower as well, right?
Yeah, that'll go down. I mean, they're gonna have Living Armor to slow this down and another Glyph, but they can tank very easily here. And that is going to be a done deal. There's just no way Blacklist can fight into this unless they can just get a surprise overgrowth, but that's not happening anytime soon.
At least they did take bottom in exchange, so it's not... Like, they forced a really difficult tower to defend into a trade. So that's as best as you can do there, Blacklist.
That's true. Then again, it's just still the Broodmother's tower, which you would expect to go down 4 minutes ago. So it's still rough. I mean, I still think Blacklist are having a really rough game. Their early to mid transition is super awkward, but at least made a bit easier as Carl does have himself his full Bloodstone completed. You can see he's just used it to heal off that Sunray damage. Then again, he's still fighting into this Pipe of Barrier. So that's a serious problem for him. It does kind of feel like it neutralizes the first couple of seconds of all of your damage. You're not getting any of your mana back. It's a bit rough here. I'd say Bleed can pretty much decides when and where to fight, and it's really up to Blacklist to respond.
Do you think Brood still has the necessity of, like, as a Beastmaster, right? You talk about how much map control you can acquire, and that's a big deal when you're playing him. Otherwise, what's the point of a hero?
Right.
But now that Brood is playing this kind of aura build that's been popular since even before TI, does this hero depend so much on the space you can make early in the map control, or is there more versatility to it?
Right, I think the part about map control has, it's dual parts, because the map control can play into other aspects of your draft. If you have a pickup lineup and you corral them into a certain part of the map, it makes picking off a lot easier, right? But it's also about just getting your items early, right? She's got a lot of farming mechanisms. That's why you see this mech build come into fruition, because this item's got
mechanism to farm.
Exactly, right? Because it's gotten some crazy buffs to it lately. So it's just this great early teamfight item. So I wouldn't say, if when you played in this style, no, you don't really need to be the map space denier, all this stuff. It's just more about getting your early timings and fighting with the team, which is why it's played as a 3, right?
Okay.
Phoenix is doing the same thing, however, and it seems like for now, his ulti just holds much more weight.
I am interested though what he's going to be able to use this. Yeah, now Cuckoo, he's trying to gain. Oh, he's been leashed, but Snark's actually stuck in the high ground now. Can they kill Cuckoo in time? They get him. He's got Ags already. He does. There's a mechanism still on Cuckoo though to save the supernova has been used, but they can't get close to the end because they can't blink. Cuckoo might just get stunned as the overgrowth at least covers the retreat. Playhard could be in trouble himself. He's going to be the first one to go down. Plus, don't activate by this Slash Strike, and he just doesn't die. It doesn't matter if the Snark is hitting him. He survived that whole damage. Dubu is now on the retreat. Low mana though on this poor Crystal Maiden. Run, Wolf, run, but the Wolves of Ice Rank are not very swift today. They catch up to him, and the damage is high enough to finish off Dubu.
That's unfortunate. He'll be a little bit upset there. I think that TP completed. We all heard the sound, but unfortunately for him, he didn't make it out alive. Just a bit unfortunate there. They needed way more lockdown. Carl needs to get stunned up before he can activate Pulse Nova and Bloodstone. It's the kind of Doom effect, right? How many times have you seen a Lesh get doomed and then still come out of the fight full mana, full HP?
No, Richie, how many keyboards have I broken this month? That's your answer.
That's the better question here. And it's a bit tough. It's really hard for Bleed. They really look to force it. I think perhaps their best move would have been not to really dive so aggressively and just force enemies to come to them. We've seen how difficult it is for Blacklist already this game to, I guess, stare menacingly at heroes and then attempt to gank them, and it doesn't work. But when you play into them, when you run into their overgrowth radius,
just stuck in place. Cuckoo has the guarded Greaves. And now, this time he should die.
He's not going anywhere, yeah. That's Lesh, that's a different story.
Right. Lesh might have survived that, turned it around, 1v5 them.
Yeah, seriously, I mean, that's a crazy. That was with pipe of barrier. That was the pipe barrier on everyone as well, by the way, which is just madness.
Do we have a Mage Slayer, by the way? Because that was a strategy we do.
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the Thunder idea against Lesh, right?
We've seen 2 Slarks today, by the way, at least one earlier in the games, and completely different builds. Ags into the Mage Slayer, and before it was a Radiance into the PL.
Oh, that's the Chinese build. Have you seen it? That build's pretty fun. It's a very interesting way of playing the Slark. I think this is a more standard one, but I do think the Mage Slayer seems to be a deviation because of Lush, right? Exactly.
No, I mean, exactly, but that's what I really like seeing. I think Dota's in a really good place when 2 of these builds are, you know, both extremely viable and maybe even good. You know, it shows that, you know, with experience, you've come to pick up a couple different items, learn some different matchups, and maybe get yourself a couple key kills as Jackie will commit that pounce onto the top lane. It looks like a kill for him with the second pounce. AU in trouble. They're fighting here, though.
Yeah, they are. In fact, bottom, they were trying to fight as well. The top lane now, Playhard. It's his turn to try to kill AU, but AU apparently is too tanky. This tree's not going down. Instead, the Rock's in trouble. Cuckoo blocks the pounce, but now he's in trouble, but goes into the fog, making sure Jackie can't quite kill him. Second pounce is now ready. Masaru's going to join it. They want to exterminate this insect, and they will accomplish it. The boss is down.
Actually, it's an arachnid, not an insect. But dead all the same, and that'll actually open up Roche because big teamfight ulti committed there. I don't think we quite caught it on camera, but there was an overgrowth used in that awkward skirmish. Blacklist, they didn't really want to be fighting in that area. Bleed have a tier 1 tower. You could see how quickly they were able to reinforce and, you know, get the numbers advantage. Mechanism aside, sure, it saves the Dream Protector. They really kind of came down bad with Save Your Buddy syndrome, and it'll cost them first Roche.
You know, the problem there is that you see the Terminator getting gone, and he goes, oh, I'm dead, I'm dead. And then that goes, actually, I'm not. I'm tanking through all this. Maybe they're super weak, and they just baited you into attacking a Slark that has a bunch of the attribute shift onto him, right?
I think Jackie's problem is he doesn't have like a ton of damage. It's not bad, of course, with his 57 essence that he currently has stolen, or his 14 stacks of it anyway for 57 agi.
12, 11, slowly going down.
It's going down. but he doesn't have a ton of damage, so it takes him a while, especially because he's going for BKB. He doesn't have a lot of stats.
Yeah, but consider this though, the hitbox, right? So you hit the 2 pounces almost every fight. You start with 6 stacks.
Oh, of course, and that's exactly what allows Jackie to get the ball rolling in that engagement. That's what's actually pretty fun about this matchup. It's like, with exception, of course, of now the Lesh with Bloodstone, everyone's pretty squishy, everyone's pretty mobile, you know? You have a lot of potential to go for these kind of wacky plays, and he seems, especially with going with for BKB next, he just wants to bring the fight right to this Lesh. Interesting, right? Because, of course, without a Diffusal Blade, it'll take some time, but still has that Mage Slayer at least to help his team survive a bit more and reduce that damage output.
Yeah, because you want the Pango is one of those heroes that does get in the middle of the fight, but isn't the tankiest, especially since the shield crash nerf. Yeah. So making sure that the Pango doesn't die immediately to the Lesh area damage is quite a big deal. So even if he's balled up, right, you want the Pango to swashbuckle a bunch. He's already going for the Axe.
Radiant's bottom tower
Wants to have as much impact in his team fights as possible. No Blink Dagger, so he does seem to be more of a damage-oriented Pango.
They do have themselves the Greaves now as well on Cuckoo. Okay. So he's finished that up. That's not bad at all.
He's going for 4 steps though.
Immediately transitioning. That'll really help with their initiation as well, to be quite honest. Because right now that'll make 2 4-steps for AU. Well, 1 on AU and the second there on Cuckoo.
No, but they're both AUs. He's the one that directs Cuckoo when to use the 4.
Very true. Yeah, very true. For now, it's actually Blacklist who are just going to be pushing opposite here. Bleed still continuing to move as they please, but you can see it's a little bit awkward. I'd say neither team really is super comfortable yet, being the one to initiate. Corden's actually going for the Ag Scepter here on the Pangolier before anything like a Blink Dagger, which would allow him to maybe get on top of important heroes first. That's an interesting choice, but it will increase the damage output, although this is a good fight for them.
Carl has already been powered for his 4-step, breaks it. Second pounce, here we go. A lot of active message, but Jackie still has the Aegis. He doesn't matter if he dies just yet. They're hoping to kill Lesh before the Slark dies. Can they do so though? Apparently it's impossible. Lesh is still alive. Cornea's died. Cornea's now being chased down by a bunch of Mortimer Skitses, and the Slark is coming back into a plethora of heroes who all want them dead. Jackie manages to pounce his way to safety, and they actually can't reach him, but they have killed the enemy mid laner. And Carl, this Slash is
middle tower is under attack.
Well, to be honest, I think it's more to do with Blacklist International. Yes, let's meme on the Lesh, but the 4-steps, that's what the second 4-step
was a good idea.
To answer the question. It's not up yet, but even just with the Guardian Greaves, you can see the impact that Cuckoo has there. Completely turns that on his head. They've so focused on hard stuff, even perhaps on killing this Lesh, that they just completely ignore the Shadow Fiend, who's channeling Requiem. It breaks apart the team fight for Bleed. They end up almost overextending. They can't get out the Supernova in time.
Do you reckon they need to change targets? Because I understand why they're considering the Lesh as well.
I mean, that felt like the question of TI, right? What do we do? Do we not kill Lesh? Like, that didn't really seem to be the solution either. Tundra's solution, of course, was reduce the damage, but now with the changes to Wraith Pact, the only way to do that is if Slark is auto-attacking him, and if he's auto-attacking him, you might as well try and kill him first. So it feels like you're kind of stuck going down this one-way street right now, and
okay,
not really going anywhere.
Your drift, so CM Mage Slayer, so that she can attack the Lesh, and then Slark can concentrate and kill the Shadow Fiend.
That's exactly what we need.
Okay, that's a good idea, actually.
I honestly, I don't know what else you can go for here.
Swashbuckle, honestly, you maybe get Mage Slayer on the Pango, and that way you just reduce everyone's damage.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even a crazy idea for maybe an early Bloodthorn. Maybe you need this silence, because Carl is not going to build a self-dispel for a while, so if you can maybe surprise him from Fog and get the jump and get him silenced, it's a 4-step game against Slark, obviously. Not really the biggest and most obvious game to go for Lotuses. That might be a realistic option here. I don't know.
Good point, Jackie. He's trying to kill himself by the Requiem. It's going to send them packing, and look at this poor Slark. Oh, he turns to Zeus. He managed to go into Shadow Dance mode now. With the help of the Phoenix, they can come back. He's going for Requiem this time. The egg is going to break, though, and they don't have enough damage to kill off the Shadow Fiend. Duobu trying to distract the enemy team by breaking fielding, but he is going to die for this. At least Jackie gets away, but that's his BKB used for not much.
Radiant's middle tower
and that's just
attack.
not, I think, a fight Jackie could really afford to take there. I think when you just kind of got screwed over by Ravens. Shadowblade revealed the once. I think not having vision on him and kind of making the same play and an even further point to the map than where your teammates can help you is super risky. You can see Bleed here in this replay. They tried really to adjust. I really like this effort to Icarus dive back on in and maybe buy a little bit more time. but it's just not really the right kind of play. Imagine there's a Rolling Thunder here, fight could look different.
Yeah.
But now even that Raven can cover himself with that BKB, it seems rather unlikely. Seems like Blacklist, especially if Bleed continue fighting directly into them without a proper initiation, quote unquote, they're just gonna end up getting whittled down. Very surprising. Blacklist have been the patient ones so far. They haven't really been diving towers, making super aggressive plays, mostly because they have almost no mobility, to be honest. So
they don't make plays. They let you make plays, and they punish you for them.
And that's just it. It's just Bleed getting punished over and over again here.
Wondering, are there any big items? Okay, now we got
Blink.
Shivas on Phoenix. Actually.
Blink for Pango's the big item.
Blink for Pango?
I really think that'll be a bit of a game changer for Corden here. I'm really eager to see. He's going to have immense damage. He's got his 15 talent, 3-second cooldown in ball with this Axe Scepter and Diffusal Blade.
You have Shivas for the last fight, right?
I don't believe so on the Phoenix, right?
Now maybe the Lesh actually becomes a target because you have the 25% regen reduction.
That's right. That's a good point.
And lifesteal as well in general, but this might be the reason. They didn't have a Spirit Vessel until now. Obviously, they had no one yet to buy.
That's a really good point. I didn't consider that. Yeah. So, and now, of course, you're going to be further reducing the lifesteal. Well, you reduce it twice, actually, which I think
Slayer and
Mage Slayer on the way in, and then on the way out, you reduce it a second time. Yeah, with that Shiva's debuff. It's a really, really good points. And again, without any dispels, right, Lesh is going to be stuck trying to heal through that. Still has this Kaya and Sanj. For Shivas himself. This is risky.
He got frozen, but not the Shivas they were looking for. And he's like, all right, free Crystal Maiden. Sounds good. As Carl chases down Dubu, finally gets rooted with a Frostbite. Dubu could still be in trouble. Carl, he got cookied. Oh no. Dubu is now dead. That Snapfire came with the great cookie timing. And that's the Blink Dagger from Tim's coming into play. He also completely has Force Staff, which means it's smoke time, Richie.
Yeah, it's smoke time, and not only that, I think this is a pretty key moment for Blacklist International, actually. Kuku's bought a gem. He's carrying a gem right now, so it looks like they're going to try and finally be the ones to take map controls. They smoke into the jungle. They'll catch a Phoenix, who Icarus dives away, in time, but going forward into the cookie.
Masaro's to be caught with that, and poor Phoenix.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
2 dead now for Bleed. Slowly losing heroes because they don't know where to play exactly, which is one of the issues they're suffering from right now. And like you said, they don't know how to confront these team fights exactly.
Yeah, and now I wonder, I think Blink might be their next biggest timing. By then, potentially Roche could be up. It's going to depend a lot on this next Roche, I suspect. Could be up as soon as in 10 seconds. Could be another 3 minutes after that. We'll have to see here. We'll get that information. But Corden ought to have BKB, or sorry, he ought to have his Blink Dagger on the Pangolier, which is a huge tool to fight around the Roche pit. As long as Bleed can actually set up and, you know, and be in position to fight around Roche, I still think they have got a really good chance to get back into this game.
Okay. All right, we'll have to see. I mean, right now Blacklist is looking really good, and also they know how to play the strategy. Right? It might seem like a simple strategy, but they haven't been making any small blunders. They're usually just working as a ball, I would say, of Fury and Flesh Rex, and it's very difficult to confront them this way. And it's not like there's a moment in the game where they start losing steam.
Yeah. We're very likely to see a smoke here, I reckon. It's really difficult, though, and the map's dark, and the map's dark, and so they need to get out and kind of play together, ready to fight. This gem is a really, really big problem. Whoa. Okay. Oh, they cancel the TP. They could look for a fight now.
They could. They know Lesh is around TP.
They don't know how far Lesh is, though. Lesh is close. This could be a bait.
And Bleed is not going to take it. Yeah. Dark maps, guys.
Yeah,
they look very scary.
Yeah, and Dubu gets the D-ward immediately. Just on top of it, this guy.
Yep. Dubu knows he'll never be picked again.
He's going to pick up the Lesh as well. Camping underneath this ward.
Okay. But he's just a difficult target. You need to also know where the Shadow Fiend is, because the Rekiman's been screwing them over.
Pretty scary here.
I hear something.
He's just having a fun time there on the Rogue. Roche up in 44. This is a problem, though. Bleed are not completely happy with this. Right now, they're pretty much completely zoned outside of the pit. You can just tell based on the web's placement where Blacklist intend to fight.
And he found himself a slug. The Shivas himself, Jackie, is going to use the Shadow Dance, and with for Phoenix, it's a little bit difficult for Carl to get away. That's the third pounce down this fight. Carl's already dead. That's the blunder that Bleed was looking for, as Blacklist could not reach their mid laner in time, and now are forced to retreat.
The point I was making is if you look at the webs, that's where Blacklist want to fight. somewhere where they can kind of reinforce, they can get a good overgrowth, a Requiem from, you know, all this funky terrain. And now Roche, oh, if Bleed are ever just so a little bit more patient, this could be the turn that they need, but they're just going to leave the pit right as Roshan comes back. We'll see how quickly they look to check, but that could have been a huge turning point. They're not the fastest to do Roche. They do have 25 stacks here. It's 100 agi, actually, so they might be able to get through it. There they go. Now they know.
Okay. All right. Corden is going to be the first one. He's like, he's fighting the Roche head on. They did scan, however, so they have noticed that Bleed is near the pit, if anything. Will they try to come to contest it? Lesh is not here. He's a key hero in these fights.
Yeah,
might
but
be free Roche from
he can be here pretty much instantly, you know. Of course, and they're just going to delay it. He can box in on any of these fighters, so he can be instantly into the fight.
Google freezing fuels because he thought they were going to go in on break. BKB even. But Jackie BKBs to guarantee this roll. And by the middle of the stream as well, Supernova. They want to get a kill on top of this Aegis and the Shard, which I think Snark might just use.
Honestly, I think that's totally acceptable.
100%.
I think that's totally acceptable. This timing that Blacklist are scaring it or are playing in right now is pretty scary if you're Bleed. You see this guy about to respawn. Anything it takes to take down Roche that much faster out from Dubu's the call. BKB, just play it safe, Supernova use. That's fine. We just want to get our next volley of items, and then with that, we can look to fight. A point I was making earlier but didn't quite get to, that Blacklist have shown us here, is that gold solves a lot, and much like real life, solves a lot of your problems with your drafts. You can really make up for a lot of the problems that you have naturally in your draft by just buying items with them. Don't have initiation? Get a Blink Dagger.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah. That's how I got dates I did. It was all the gold in my life.
I'm sure.
All the ones I stole. Exactly what I guess. Anyway, we're wrong region. Sorry, guys.
Oh, that's
we
right.
are still watching the Blacklist guys. We're trying to recompose themselves after this Aegis loss. Can you fight into the Aegis is the question.
I think so, actually. I think so. The tricky thing is going to be, because Slark basically now has got 3 defensive items, right? He's got his Aegis for his second life, his Shadow Dance, and now his BKB. So it does become a bit tricky in terms of actually connecting enough lockdown through those 3 somewhat resets that he's going to get. Because you've only really got the Overgrowth as well as the Requiem to really lock him down, unless he's going to somehow get chain stunned by a Cookie into Split Earth, which just doesn't really seem too likely to me.
No. We have a Shard and Split Earth, we don't either. But Carl instead, he hasn't been able to deviate into the Shard. Probably was hoping that Roche would just get it off Roche, honestly.
Yeah.
And instead he's being forced into the Axe, which would do Nihilism.
Yeah.
Which is going to be really strong against the Slark, honestly. Maybe
toss back
too. Brood is in trouble.
Oh.
There was a small lag spike for us too.
There was, yes. Likely for the lag spike here, as
Corden knows his Pango lines. That is the best line to tilt the enemy.
it's a good one to use. I think Cuckoo ought to die here. He's just used Guardian Greaves, so he's not going to have a Dispel. And he's got a gem.
Yeah, he should be. Yeah, forced up though, right? Forced up. Here comes the piece of Shiva. Not bad. Good attempt, but now AU might have put himself in a pickle as Playhard goes to him. It's a 4-step gaming apparently. Playhard is not going to range for the Avalanche or for the top. Nope. He blinks right to him. Rolling Thunder hits him on the tail end of that spell, and the Frostbite guarantees this kill.
The way that these drafts are composed, it's like you make one mistake. It's such a finely balanced scale that you make one mistake and the team fights are just so one-sided.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen any new items since basically Roche fell. Like the way that Bleed and kind of Blacklist set up. But just these small mistakes, oh, you no longer have a 4-staff, now I can actually catch you.
Yep.
Like the way that Bleed are reading these fights and actually taking moves and making moves to be aggressive is really, really good. Blacklist, they keep trying to save themselves and just find themselves 1 or 2 4-staffs short, 1 mechanism or Greaves short, and that's because Bleed are keeping tabs on it.
It's all about the 4-steps, Ricky. Why Jackie is considering buying Nullifier.
Oh, actually, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. That'll also help, of course, with his damage issues that he is kind of having. He's nearly got it online as well.
Jackie was looking at it, he's like, this is good, I want to try this too.
Yeah.
Can I buy 4-step? Nullifier is fantastic as well against the Nullifier. Sorry, against the... 2 words that start with
That's a null error right there.
Yeah. My computer broke.
Yeah.
The Nihilism will also be destroyed by the Nullifier. You should be able to hit any minutes in aura. So, now we're being able to go up to 3. Cuckoo can be in trouble. Can be forced because of the Nullifier. He tries again. At least he breaks the pounce this time, which allows him to leave. Jackie has been left alone. He gets hit by the Split Earth. Dark packs it immediately, but has the BKB in his backpack. Yeah, he has the Aegis. He's hoping to waste it now. Jackie will survive. Playarm is looking for a back. He will find it. It's going to be Electric now. Can they kill Electric in time? Rolling Thunder, block the start. might just be a no call. It's not healing because it's only a smart fighting against them. And that's going to be Tims and Carl both dead. AU falls as well. They're going for Bosku. They want to finish him off. They have the sword buckle and they will hit him with a shield crash as well. Goodbye to Bosku. They don't have to. They send back the Shadow Fiend. Raven can control himself. He's also been nullified. He can't force that any longer, but instead he's going to fight back. Everyone is coming in to save Raven. And they realize once Raven's in trouble, they got to buy back.
That's really good stuff there from Bleed, and it's so difficult. You can see AU desperately wants this Blink Dagger.
Jackie's great.
They want to get this buyback up from Flash.
They really do. The cookie with the wrong direction, but Cuckoo, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He was ready for this.
Yeah, that was really nicely played by Bleed. They're just playing this such on a knife's edge. In goes Jackie again. Does need to be wary of this buyback, of this overgrowth. Requiem, though, is not ready for another 30 seconds, so that's one thing he doesn't have to worry about. And of course, still has this Aegis for 20 seconds, so can't afford to lose it. But this 4-5 is going to buy about another 30 seconds for Blacklist. That's going to be probably allowing this Lush to respawn. Minimal damage as well. Maybe a tier 3 tower goes down. Oh, love the move from Playhard. Very ambitious.
Yeah, he tried, and actually gets away with it for now. Doesn't quite knock back anyone, but the Pango will help. Here's the overgrowth, keeping poor Corden in place, but they save him with that Death Shroud. As he continues to go for the supports, or wherever he can find, the Aegis will expire, but he still has the BKB available, so he's not quite down just yet.
Oh, that was the Death Shroud, pardon me.
Yeah, that was Death Shroud, yeah. We do still have the Supernova in 10 seconds as well.
Yeah.
But they're going to choose to retreat for now. Maybe just heal up and re-engage.
Yeah, I think they need to send Corden back. He's got no mana and no Rolling Thunder, so he's cooldown restricted. And also is going to go home to buy this Basher into the Octarine Core for him next. So it's going to be all about that uptime for him, which is a beautiful build, as our resident Pango spammer on the cast going to attest to. You like that Octarine
I absolutely love this build. Because this Pango, the issue you always have with this hero is, like, do I go team fight or do I go damage, right? And this Basher plus Ags gives you both at the same time. It makes you a nuisance in fights, makes it difficult for them to attack you as well, because you actually get some auto attack with that, and also makes you hit harder. It's fantastic. It's just very expensive, obviously, but that's why you play mid Pango.
These items are really coming online now for Blade.
Oh, yes, Flicker too, that is huge.
Blacklist, they're going to smoke out of the base, but the Tiny, he's smoked up here under the cover of the Ninja Gear. He might break this.
No, he did. Blink's back. Blakeheart's Tiny this game, by the way, has been absolutely bonkers.
And it's night and day when he gets his Blink Dagger, right?
Yes, it really is.
That's what I mean. Same thing for Corden. You know, he had a phenomenal early game, but as soon as 4 staffs come out, his game's so hard. Yep. All of a sudden he gets Blink, he's right where he needs to be every single time. That last team fight where he rolled up and Rolling Thundered right around that like cliff in the Dire Triangle was a thing of beauty.
Dire's top tower is under
Really
attack.
good stuff from him so far.
And now Playhard, he heard us. His ego's really soaring high, so he decides to solo the tier 3 tower. He realizes it's not his role, and he's gonna move back again.
Definitely not.
You know, Blacklist International would also benefit from a nullifier buyer, but unfortunately I don't think they have one.
Yeah, that is easily either.
There's the Nihilism, and the Shivas, and the laugh. Who laughs?
I used everything there. Wasn't really sure, of course, with the Gem of True Sights that Cuckoo initially bought earlier, being now on the side of Bleed. Their map's now looking pretty dark. You can see they've been more or less restricted to finding farm wherever they can. SF's going to sneak out and maybe try and farm one wave down bottom, but there's actually a Maiden down there. Maybe he kills this Maiden.
Never in question.
I didn't even get much down here, to be honest.
Doesn't matter. I think Dubu's ready to die. Look at it. Look at him. Do you think he fears death? Oh no! Why would you wreck him? Does he have shard? Oh, he does not. That's why. He just wanted to make sure she couldn't just frostbite.
Yeah. He wanted the kill. He wanted the kill immediately and then to get out. Because again, the map's dark. They have no vision right now on the Blacklist map.
If you had the shard with the fear, it was enough to.
Oh, probably.
Right?
Yes, I see what you mean.
Yo, Dubu can say he tanked the Requiem. That's pretty good.
I tanked your Requiem. Guys, Requiem with CD. Don't worry, guys. Tanked it for you.
Did it for you guys. I told you Dubu wasn't afraid of death. He walked right into the Requiem.
To be honest, yeah, it was almost like he was running, charging right in. Yeah, he was so excited too. That was like a triple wave. He was like, oh man, I'm finally gonna get my first item, guys, and immediately Requiemed. Yep. C'est la vie for supports.
And now it's Playhard to take all the farm that he was gathering. Typical 5-on-4 support game.
Yeah, pretty much. The favorite support. Roshan is going to be a bit longer to respawn though. 90 seconds. Blacklist though looking to try and gain a foothold in this part of the map. We got Masaros ready to Icarus dive, ready to pop the Supernova and kick off a little bit of a fight here, ready to break smokes. Blacklist will have to take the long way around, where once again, Playhard just always being a bit annoying here.
I see Goku's leading with the Nihilism is now harder to gank him when he has that on, of course. Because you have to, essentially, you force the BKBs if they want to go against you.
Yep.
And the Nullifier.
And the Nullifier. Yeah, very true. I wonder now, I guess with Nullifiers in play, it might be... Who wants to build a Lotus? This game's the question. Tree needs this Blink Dagger, and Snapfire's actually going for the Wraith Pact, interestingly enough.
Is Brood? It's not a bad Lotus game for Brood.
Not a bad Lotus game, but she actually went for the Scythe of Vice. So.
I love this. I think it's a really good pickup. Finally a way to deal with the Slark, right?
Absolutely. Some way to deal with him here. Slark, who, by the way, is eventually going to upgrade this Mage Slayer. Does upgrade, of course, into that Bloodthorn. I still think it's very valuable this game. Still no Dispels here on Carl.
No BKB at all, actually.
Yeah. So it's rather risky. If he gets Silence, he is going to die very quickly.
Jackie, it's found out.
I
mean, I guess the problem with the Silence is you can always use Bloodstone and hope to tank through it with a Pulse Nova, which is not unlikely.
I guess the thought process behind it is if Corden can Blink stun him from Fog, and then we follow with a Pounce and we immediately silence him, he might be toast.
Yeah.
Maybe, right? Of course, that's what you always say when you say, I'll Blink Doom you guys, don't worry, and then he still kills you anyway.
No, I mean, I like the idea by Bleed. I just think that I understand why Carl is not building a BKB this game. You're trying to maximize your potential
Of
here.
course.
And BKB surprisingly seems like a little bit of a dead item in his game.
He's going for a Scythe of Vice as well here, actually, as the smoke. We're going to dodge each other. Roche has respawned.
Okay, Corden's got it's an Ags Roche as well.
Good positioning here, yeah. Ags on that third Roche for the bounty.
Radiant are scanning.
That's useless for Bleed, but it's actually pretty great for Blacklist.
All right, both teams are going to try and hold the ward here, but with Bleed holding this outpost, it's going to be Carl the one to show.
Carl, truly not afraid of dying. They hex him. They toss him back. Carl could be in trouble. He hexes him and he's just dead. Okay, Carl's down. Now Cuckoo could be in trouble as well. Cuckoo falls immediately, and they find AU as an extra snack. At least it's a TP from Tim, so he's going to be fine. And Raven far. You know those plays where you think, oh, he's getting away with it. He really is. And then he immediately gets punished.
Yeah, I mean, they're literally just setting him up for the highlight reel at this stage, aren't they?
Up against the Tiny, I don't know. I feel like that was a bit of a risk.
It's bold, especially not having any vision, knowing that enemies have had more or less free reign all over your map for the past 5 minutes, 7, even since Roche has been taken down. That's a really bold play to make. They just don't have any saves. Lotus isn't going to save them there. You get tossed way too far back. Really good positioning from Bleed. They probably maximize the toss range to make sure no one could save him.
Yep.
It was really good. Let's take another look at that one, please.
Yeah. I think this way of play by Carl reminds you a little bit of Eek-Time Carl, like ages ago, when it's a little bit more risky.
Yeah.
Played all these 50-50 plays that he liked to do.
On his like Ember Spirits, where he'd throw he'd throw 3 Remnants in, and you're like, dude, you need a Remnant to get out, and he just killed the whole team.
Yes, exactly. Or he would die.
Or he would die instantly. And now there's no buybacks here either. I think they're actually still on CD. Just for a couple more seconds. Tree the only one with the funds for it, though.
Is this just over?
This might just straight up be over.
Obviously, Carl can't buy. I mean, he can buy back, but he doesn't want to. There's no point in it right now. Raven is just trying to de-push the bottom lane, which is probably the smartest choice, but there's no tier 2, so they can just continue to push this tower regardless.
And I'd say, like, before this Aegis, there's, like, a glimmer of hope. Yes, they're up against a 33k net worth lead, but Raven's actually got himself this Arcane Blink, and you are real fast on the draw, of course, on that Requiem, because it speeds up that animation. That can easily catch people off guard, especially the first time it's cast. Could win you a fight, but against an Aegis, I don't know if you kill this guy twice.
They went for the Lash first. He's been stunned, but they don't have the damage to kill him.
They didn't get Asaros.
And Carl gets zombie KV, so now he's safe. But Playman could be in trouble himself. Raven only died, though, to Jackie, and that's going to be GG. Carl might have survived, but Raven was the key damage dealer, and that's going to sentence Blacklist International to death. Victory! Game of the series.
Yeah, and I think I got to commend the way that Blacklist tried to fight that one through. Not the flashiest of games we've seen. I think it was 2 kind of awkward drafts when it came down to initiation, starting off fights. Everyone kind of needed items, but you could still see some high-level Dota fundamentals at play, right? Bleed identifying when they're at